theme parks, but also...
Are you ready to get philosophical?
I fucking love this shit.
Beautiful listeners, you are worth all the stars in the sky.
Hell yeah.
And at least 2 perfectly cooked grilled cheeses.
Hell yeah. Does a bear shit in the woods?
Sometimes. He's been known to shit in a liquor tent. Yeah, pick up a book, losers.
Pick up a book, losers.
Welcome to the Based Banter Podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another awesome, amazing, spectacular episode of the Based Banter Podcast. I'll be your host today, Jerry, and as always, joined by my co-host and best friend, Joey. Joey, what's up? How you been? What is new in your world?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. I just got a new tattoo taking up my whole neck and shoulder. Then I got another one behind the ear. So I've had my little rush of adrenaline for the month. Beyond that, I've just been eating so much that I'm getting huge, getting too big for all of my clothes, and I'm working out, dude. I'm living life. I'm loving it. Summertime is almost here, and this is peak season for me, dude. I love this shit.
Are you trying to grow into your tattoo? Like, get a big-ass tattoo on your neck and shoulder, and now you're trying to...
I want it to be small.
Make it look like a smaller tattoo by getting bigger.
I'm just a morphing person, dude. If you look at me now and then come back like 3 months later, I'm gonna be totally different.
Just constantly in metamorphosis, buddy. He's ever
caterpillar.
growing. He's ever changing.
You know, some people, they stay the same. You know, like we have a friend who looks basically the exact same now in his 30s that he did in high school.
Do you think that spot is on?
I don't know, dude. Am I the one that's weird? Because I change all the time. I think it's fun. I love to like express myself, and like I always have different interests. You know, I always have like nothing that I'm interested in I ever stop being interested in. I just get interested in more shit. So I don't know, but I'm loving it, man. What about yourself? What you got going on?
Oh, buddy, I came back from a vacation here recently, and it was a well-needed one. And as our listeners have noticed, it's been a little bit of a hiatus in the posting, but you know what? Sometimes it takes a little bit of a recollection of the thoughts and getting everything together and getting stuff sorted. And this vacation for me really centered me, and it put so much stuff in perspective, because I went up, I took a trip to see my family, and it's just an amazing time whenever you get to reconnect with your upbringing, with the things that shaped you, and then you get to come back to it as a fully fleshed out person and get to see, oh, this is why I am how I am. And then you also get that triumph of like, nah, that ended with them. This is who I am. I calling into this bullshit.
Right. You get to revisit, you know, your spiritual origins.
Your spiritual origins.
Yeah. You know, I saw this is kind of relative to that. I saw a video on Facebook Reels, and it was about this guy who was doing just a random sketch with his buddy. He was like, if my younger self saw me now, he would be so disappointed. Because I used to want to be a magician. I used to want to be a musician. I used to want to be an astronaut. But now I'm just me living in my apartment. And his buddy pulls out a marker and he's like, touch the magic marker and you'll meet your child self. So he does, and he meets his child self, and then he's expecting his child self to be so disappointed. But the kid's like, whoa, you have your own place? Like, we have our own place? That's so cool. He's like, can you make grilled cheese sandwiches? He's like, oh, that's so cool. And I think that that's like really important to reflect back on when you look at your like spiritual self, and you can think about how like where your origins are and what your expectations were from yourself, and how we should be a little bit more easy on our progress and where we are in life, because nothing ever happens the way that you want it to.
Right. In psychology, there's this concept known as the inner child. They say that child in you never grows up, and it stays with you as you grow and evolve and create these new shells around you, right? Because as we grow, we create more and more of these shells, and the person that we grow into is somebody that we hope will keep us safe in the ways that we needed whenever we were younger.
Right, man. You know, I love this little kickstart into this episode with a little bit of reflection and psychology, buddy.
A little but
So I know you brought a topic to the table today, but before we dive into that, I'm going to do a little bit of light housekeeping. If you are a new listener and this is your first time listening, I'll go ahead and give you a little bit of a breakdown, kind of a short synopsis on what we do here at the Based Banter Podcast. We are both the hosts. We co-host each episode. One of the hosts will come to the table with a topic. Oftentimes it's researched. Sometimes it's a topic of interest, and we just riff and we like to banter because I think the best description of this is just two friends getting together, sharing conversation, and then sharing that conversation with the world. And beyond that, if you want to be a part of this conversation, you can find us at our socials. Right now, we are on YouTube and Spotify. That's where you can find the episodes that we put out concurrently each week. And then if you want to interact with us, go to our Gmail, and these are all at Based Banter Podcast. Now, Jerry, let's get started. And before we get started, I'm going to roll for initiative on this episode. Let's see what we get.
All right, let's see what happens. He's a-rolling.
Critical success, baby. Okay. 3, 6, 9. Damn, she's fine. Tell me one more time. Get low. Okay, we got ourselves
enough to go first.
Critical success, buddy.
All right, that was a good roll to start us off here, but I'm gonna have to do my own roll.
Oh yeah, I
Drum
can't
roll,
just roll
please.
for you. That was my part of it. So I have a critical success. Well, it's not critical success. It's just a success. I had like 16.
So here's the thing. Over my vacation, I went to.
Oh
shit! That's not enough. That's 17. I
counted 23. Am I dumb?
You're just adding them twice. Pick one, count it once, and then pick the next one and count it once.
Are we supposed to try to get to 21?
Blackjack.
Oh shit! I've been doing this wrong the whole time. Then I think I had a failure.
Okay, well, we will brush past that, buddy, because we don't want to reminisce and live in that failure.
Hey, man, you know what?
The short-sightedness.
You can't succeed without failing. You can't fail without ever succeeding.
Yo.
But yeah, man, so what do you got for us?
You can't achieve without trying and at least failing at least once.
Philosophy. He came to the table with some philosophy.
Not today. No,
Ooh.
We are not ready to get philosophical because we are ready to talk about the intricacies of amusement parks and novelty thrills.
Okay.
Right, because, I got to thinking. I went to Cedar Point, which is an amusement park in Sandusky, Ohio. And I would say it's one of the better ones, but I am a little bit biased. But it is just a fascination that people want to get onto these machines and get hurled around and potentially face like life-threatening consequences. Because if a machine or if one of the lap bars malfunction and you are like in motion, you're going to fly off that sucker and that's going to be it for you. But rarely does that happen. So at what point is it the fascination of like what could be, or is it just fantasy? Is it like, what is it that draws people in to the thrill seeking rides? Like, are you somebody that would ride a roller coaster? Are you somebody excited about roller coasters? Is it something that's...
I love theme parks. I've been to Universal Studios. I've been to Kings Island. I've been to Dollywood. And they're all different, right? Like Universal Studios primarily centralized around like the Universal Studios with like Jurassic Park and like Marvel.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Well, now Marvel's part of Disney, but that's confusing. We won't touch on that. But Kings Island is just your straight up like real raw like theme park, and then like Dollywood is like hillbilly theme park. but you know, I think that like the
So are you somebody that likes roller coasters?
I love roller coasters, and I love the feeling you get on it. There's some roller coasters that just scare the fuck out of me, dude. Like there's this one at Kings Island called the Drop Zone, right? It takes you straight up, and then you're sitting at like this peak, this pinnacle of the height. You can see the whole park, and you know if you fall, you're going to die. And then it drops you, free fall, all the way down to the bottom. And it scares the ever-loving fucking shit out of me. But I still ride it. I still loved it. It's still fun. Now, what that says about me, I'm not entirely sure. It might be like this primitive, like innate desire to like chase some kind of like urge of being close to death, you know, and like having like that brush with like death, and how that kind of like release a chemical in your brain. Like you get adrenaline and adrenaline, and endorphins are released, so your body's responding to all of these chemicals.
Adrenaline comes from the kidneys.
And does it really?
Yes.
Well, adrenaline, I believe, comes from your brain.
You have an adrenal gland in your kidneys that releases adrenaline.
The more you know.
Wow.
Well, I got a little thing here for you. I wanted to see if you knew about. Do you know what the oldest amusement park is? Like the world's oldest amusement park?
Times Square.
Not even close, buddy.
The Mona Lisa.
Yo, mom.
Yo, mom.
Oh, no, it was the world's oldest amusement park is called Bakken in Denmark, and it was in the 1500s, 1583. You know, it started as like a public pleasure garden near natural springs, and yeah, I think it says it's still operating today, making it the oldest in the world.
Wait, what is a pleasure garden?
It doesn't specify. But the oldest one that was in the United States was Lake Compounce in Bristol, Connecticut. That was in 1846. It opened as a picnic and a swimming ground.
Because I could think of some different uses for like a pleasure garden, but I'm sure it's something.
Well, the reason I brought that up is because to me it's fascinating to think that for hundreds of years we're chasing this dragon, right? What was it?
So I happened to look up
the orgy garden.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, you got Pornhub, huh?
I just googled pleasure garden.
Oh shit!
And
you gotta be more specific.
And it's taken me to Pleasure Garden Club in Philadelphia.
You're gonna ride Space Mountain now, buddy.
Which is a swinger club.
Oh shit!
So
upside down pineapples for days.
So Pleasure Club.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So I think the reason I brought that up is because, you know, it's fascinating to me to think that, you know, several hundreds of years later, we have evolved, you know, our ways of entertainment to kind of like facilitate this urge and this need that we have, you know, innately. You know, what is that? Like, what are we doing? Like, why do we want to put ourselves at risk to potentially die? Because you've seen the videos online. People actually get hurt, get killed, paralyzed. It can happen.
And still, the coasters persist.
Right, like fairs, dude. Dude, fairs are so sketchy. I follow this guy who he'll do videos of him like waiting in line at the fair, and he's like, while everyone's watching the ride, talking with their families, I'm looking at the welds, and he shows all the shitty fucking welds of all of the like metal on the fairs because they slap that shit together in like a week,
and does like a rating. It's like 2 out of 10.
Wouldn't ride this shit if you gave me a fucking $1 million. Dude, have you ever rode the zipper at the fair?
I have.
Dude.
And it was one of the rides where before getting onto it, my parent or guardian was telling me, nah, you shouldn't do that.
Probably should not do this.
I've known someone to collapse or like to die on this or get hurt from it.
Weak.
It's just like...
Your bloodline ends here, buddy. Only the strong will persist.
So then already, like, my mind was, like, in fear and panic already. Like, I wanted to do it. Like, there's still that drive in me to do something crazy. But then whenever I was doing it, it became real that I was doing it.
Right.
And then everything that they had said was playing back in my head, and I was visioning being the next person. And then, yeah, it's just not...
Well, that's how my son is, dude. So, like, he is terrified of roller coasters. And, you know, logically, that makes sense, right? Like, yeah, you're intelligent for being afraid of them because you know they come with a risk. And he was missing out on a lot of fun, and I was explaining it to him. I was like, look, dude, statistically, there has been one death at this theme park in, like, the past, like, 20 years. You could be the next one, or you could have fun and enjoy yourself and make memories. And it took me back to when I was a kid. I was really afraid of one particular roller coaster that I did not want to ride, dude. It drove me crazy. I was fighting my parents, trying to get out of line, dude. It broke me down into tears. I was like, I did not want to ride this thing. Do you remember a time whenever you were, like, absolutely afraid to, like, get on a roller coaster, and then how you felt afterwards?
Yes, and I lost that fear at no other than the fair.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
The zipper.
The zipper broke something in me permanently.
I think it broke something in all of us.
But I remember specifically there was this one ride where it's like a hang glider, and then it, like, takes you around, and I was just, like, really afraid of that because it's a hang glider. You're just, like, looking down, and
you're barely attached
to this thing. And then after a couple of times of that, after seeing that I have, like, a modicum of, like, control over this, and I mean, because, like, you can hold on.
Right.
Like, you have some power in the situation, but not as much as if something malfunctions.
Right. If the whole ride collapses, you're absolutely fucked.
And then my logical brain was like, okay, well, let's look at which one of these is, like, way more likely and which one I could lean on. And I'm like, well, if I sit in the seat and, like, compose myself and I'm doing my things, I'm going to enjoy myself.
Right.
Like, it's like a conformity almost.
Right.
Like, if you are healthy enough to ride a roller coaster, the odds are you will, like, assuming that it is in your personality type, but you will enjoy it. Like, that is something that's...
Sure. Some people don't, but yeah.
Some people really don't. And
right.
that
like, it jars them, fucks their equilibrium up. But they're otherwise healthy. It's a mental thing, too,
It's a mental thing. So a lot of it I'm noticing is, like, a fear of heights.
Right.
So that's the biggest fear that happens. It's not the fear of, like, going fast or, like, being upside down or anything. That's the fear of being up so high.
Right.
And I get that fear. I mean, it's scary whenever you are at that peak of the roller coaster and you are looking out over the entire park. And you just have this bird's eye view. And then... you know, in the back of your mind, the next thing that's going to happen, you're going straight down.
Right. So the reason I asked that is because I wanted to know how you felt once you went on the ride and then got off of it. So you were afraid prior to getting onto it, and then once you got off of it, how did you feel?
So it has changed. This process has changed. I've watched it change ever since I was a teenager into my adulthood, where the feelings of fear and panic would be overwhelming.
Right.
So as an adult, I still have those feelings. I look at a roller coaster and I think that is way too damn high. But it's not. It really isn't. And then the thing is, I got better with dealing with those feelings.
Sure, yeah.
And outweighing the cost of it. I mean, like, well, I'll be a little afraid now, but whenever we get rolling, it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be a ride. It's going to be an experience that I'm going to want to either experience again or tell somebody about. Or so, to answer your question simply, is that the feelings never went away. I just got better at handling them.
So that specific instance, though, once you came off of that ride, you felt like you had better mentally mental equipment to dealing with like facing these fears, because that's how I felt whenever I got on. The specific ride for me was at the theme park called Dollywood, and the ride was called the Tennessee Tornado. And it's this ride that's famous for doing like 3 loops where you do like a backflip or a front flip. I don't know which fucking way it goes, but you do these 3 loops, and then I made the mistake of like walking up and looking at the roller coaster prior to riding it.
This one is a wooden roller coaster.
I don't remember. I think it has metal parts, but it's scary as fuck. And then I remember being terrified of it. But when I got on it and was in the act of riding it, I realized, dude, this is actually fucking really fun. I rode that ride like 4 or 5 more times that day. And to relate with how you deal with it, like I'm the same way. I still look at a ride and I'm like, that looks fucking intense.
It's fucking crazy.
But I'm gonna ride it. Because it's like I think there's this like element of facing your fear. Right, it's an illogical fear, because you know that you have control. You just don't actually have to ride it. You could just avoid it and not ever deal with it. But when you do deal with it and you do face that fear, you come out of it feeling like you've really accomplished something, like you've grown as a person, and now you can take that with you and deal with other things in life, right? Like maybe it's the fear of approaching somebody and talking to like someone who you're interested in.
So I find it fascinating that is one of the biggest aspects of like amusement parks, is that we don't even see it as that either. Like whenever we're thinking about amusement parks, oh, it's going to be fun. We'll go, we'll have some memories. Like we'll make some memories, and we'll have some memories. We'll remember some stuff.
It depends on what ride you ride. You ride the zipper, you ain't remembering shit.
But the idea is that it's not something you go there for, but it is a benefit that you reap.
Right.
And there's been times where I've been in line and there will be like a family behind me or in front of me, and the kid will be terrified, and the mother or father, they'll be like, dude, just trust me. You are so brave. You will get through this. Yes. And then whenever you do, you will want to do this again.
Yes. That's a cool moment too.
And it's a very cool moment. It's a formative moment. Formative memory.
So I have a question for you. Since this does still happen to you to this day, what's a ride that you recently rode that you looked at and was like, fuck that, but then rode it anyways?
So there's a couple, and now I am a big thrill seeker, so I mean I was always going to get on these regardless. But the first one has to be the Siren's Curse. Okay. So that one, you are seated, and then the track then, like you come to a stop, and then the track then tilts 90 degrees and you're looking straight down.
It transitions to another track.
Yeah, the track isn't connected. So then you go to the end, and then the track turns 90 degrees. You're looking straight down, and then it reconnects. It holds you there for a second.
And you're just hoping them fucking brakes hold you.
You're just hoping.
They better have locked this fucking seatbelt in tight.
And that's the critical moment. And then whenever it drops, it is just pure bliss and euphoria. That's one of the better coasters, I would say. I like the theme of it, and I like the ride, the actual ride of it. So the first part that I'm talking about is a little bit of a novelty, and it's not something that hasn't been done before. But the whole experience, like the ride and everything. But we were talking about the mental side of it, because whenever you get to the other side and you've done it, it creates like a shortcut in your brain to do it again. Does that make sense?
If you hold on to it, right? Because my son, as an example of someone who, when he was younger, he rode a lot of crazy roller coasters. He was scared at first, but then he would ride them all. But the older he got, he was just like, no, I don't want no part in this. And that's just the way he chooses to live his life. And he doesn't have that, even though he did do that. And I try to explain that to him. I'm like, this is something you've done before. It's no different now than it was back in the day. Yet he is making a choice to avoid this potential situation. And, you got to respect someone's actual, you can only pep talk so much before you're like, hey, it's your life, man. Like, I'm not gonna force you to do anything.
Right, because at what point are you taking away their autonomy to do what they want to do?
Right.
So
and then
maybe,
they resent that, and then, but yeah, I get what you're saying, because when you do partake in a scary activity, such as, like, you know, riding a scary roller coaster. For me, the one I rode recently that really played a lot with, like, my mentality and my capabilities of dealing with fear, it was at a water park, and it was it was a tall ass daredevil slide. And I mean, it was like, I think it's the tallest water slide in America. And it was pouring down raining that day. And I was like, dude, I got to climb like 80 flights of stairs just to get to the top of this bitch. And I was like, well, we're up here, so I'm going to fucking do it. And did it. And it was super fun. But it was like, the whole time I was like freaking out. But even still, you know, to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, knowing that I've dealt with some of these things like that, I still find myself having fear dealing with lesser things.
Dude, and this is the beauty of the topic, because it opens up that space to talk about fear. And a lot of us don't talk about being afraid.
Final Destination made a whole ass movie about theme parks.
Yes, and I saw that in theaters.
And it's crazy.
Before I was of age. So as like a little teenager, I'm not sure how I got into that theater, but that fucked me up.
Right. And then, because they play on that fear because it's a common trope.
But you would think somebody...
But it's such a fun, inviting place.
You would think somebody so traumatized by a movie like that would never step foot on a coaster.
Right.
But I fucking love them and will never stop until I have to.
Right, and there's something about that's baked into our DNA naturally, where we crave this, like, urge to, like, face a specific fear and then to overcome it, be it like going to war, right? Like, you know, you're going into battle and you could potentially die, but you don't. And then when you come out the other side, you're changed. You're different from it, right?
That hardwires your whole reality.
It does.
Because at a certain point, there's a transition. I can't speak personally, but it's just empathizing. There's got to be a point to whenever you realize, hey, I'm not safe anymore.
Right.
Like, you realize, like, any moment somebody could, like, open fire or shit could blow up. Like, there's a certain moment whenever you are like, it's real. Like, the fucking combat is real.
But a lot of those people too, man, like, they'll come out, they pursue it outside. Like, after they've served, they'll become police officers and firefighters because they're still trying to, like, one, it's a sense of purpose, but two, it's also, there's that thrill. There's a thrill involved with the near-death aspect of facing that fear and then coming through the other side and still being here.
So if you or anyone you know has been through something similar to this, or has some of their experience to share, like, we would love to hear about it. You know, the socials. This is going to be a future topic, and we would love to get some stories from you guys. It'd be amazing to bring them up and maybe dissect them a little bit.
Right, man. And I think that people would have some interesting stories to tell when it comes to, like, you know, oh, I saw my mama, she got on a ride, and then the ride came back and she wasn't in the ride anymore. And it's like, I still get on roller coasters, though, even though I know it. They took my mother.
They took my mother, and then every third Friday of the blue moon, I wake up and I go back to sleep, and I have another dream about my mother becoming the ride, and her skin is the metal bars, and her face is the coaster.
But there's other things too, man. There's driving cars. There's, you know, racing, illegal street races.
Yeah, there are a lot of thrills that we can get. Like, adrenaline is one hell of a drug, and there's a whole ass addiction to that. There are people that get so, like, strung out on that thrill, that excitement, that they've got to do more crazy shit to get their kicks again.
Just chasing that dragon, buddy.
Chasing that dragon. Have you ever seen that movie Crank?
Yeah.
Where his heart gets, like, taken out. They put in a fake heart, and he's got to keep on adrenaline. It's kind of like that for, like, the quote-unquote adrenaline junkie, but, like, way less, like, drastic.
I
Like
think-
they ain't gonna die in a few hours. If they
Yeah, yeah, and also when it comes to like adrenaline, I like to put theme parks at like the low end tier of that, right? Like, because it's relatively tame compared to some of the things you can do. You can go skydiving, you can go fucking snowboarding,
and the duration of which you are feeling these spikes of adrenaline, because a ride is only 2-3 minutes most,
Right.
where if you're put in like a high stakes situation, that could last anywhere from the few minutes that it takes to start to like hours until it's over, and then your adrenaline's going the whole time.
and they're so popular too. Though, like they keep popping up all across the world. You know, like every country has its own type of theme park. You know. And then people are making backyard theme parks. Like there's a roller coaster in Gatlinburg that you can get on that some guy just owns, and you can ride through the mountains.
That some guy just
He
owns.
just owns it, dude. He just owns this roller coaster, and you know it just goes to show you how this has become like a baked in part of our society.
So what role do you think it plays? Is it an escape? Is it the is it like the rite of passage, like you need to go do it?
I think it's everything. I think it's that. I think that it's part of you facing your fears in an organic way where you have control, and then it teaches you how to face your fears in other aspects of your life. And I think that primarily it's the escapism, right? Because every country that has theme parks primarily has like a heavy workforce, right?
Or like an oppressive government.
Or an oppressive government. Dude, what is that? What is that? What if it's all a psyop?
Yeah.
What if it's just psyop to keep us from rebelling against corruption? It's like, if you want to keep the masses in control, give them a couple roller coasters to ride every once in a while. That'll keep them busy.
Peanuts and circles.
Peanuts and circles.
Circuses.
Peanuts and circles.
Circuses.
But yeah, man, I think they are inherently good for people, but also they're expensive as fuck. You know, like they're really expensive.
They probably have to be expensive to cover like most of the costs, and then to keep like a certain level of exclusivity to it, which is classist, but
yeah, you got to think too, though. Like Dolly, for instance, Dolly Parton. She has Dollywood, and she's obviously a famous country musician.
She's a philanthropist.
She's a philanthropist, but she also does a lot of good, right? Like she had that whole thing where, like, if you were a kid and you wanted to get free books, you could just sign up for Dolly's free book program, and you would get books in the mail, and they would just show up at your house. And she did all these things for the community, and it was paid for. A lot of it was paid for through the theme park.
Right, that Dollywood money.
Yeah, man, I see why you would want to talk about this, because there's some aspects to it that I think that go unnoticed.
It's a weird anomaly.
People don't think about it. They don't sit and ponder the concept of theme parks and, like, what do we get from them?
But
what do they take from us?
So the most popular one that anyone, I would say most generally anybody would talk about, like American, I should say,
Disney.
Be like Disneyland, Disney World, whichever one. But that in itself is an anomaly, I would say, in the amusement park world, because not every amusement park has like full-fledged as characters that have whole ass movies and history and heritage. Like, that's something that is like so exclusive to Disney. Like, you couldn't and also like Universal Studios, right?
Yep.
There are other parks.
These are actual themed parks.
Like themed parks. Like, you can go to a Harry Potter theme park, right? And then in Japan, there are Mario theme parks and Pokemon and Hello Kitty. So, I mean, maybe it isn't as exclusive as I initially thought, but to the degree that they do it is absurd.
Yeah, they do it big and they gussy it all up. Have you, did you ever pay any attention to, like, the World's Fair?
The World's Fair.
They would, like, take the World's Fair to, like, different states, and there would be this giant fair, And I think in Knoxville, Tennessee, they erected the Sun Sphere as part of like a promotional thing for the World's Fair that came like 1982 or some shit.
1984.
1984. Damn, we'll ride that pulled up. But have you heard the conspiracy about that one fair and theme park that they tore down after they did it?
Hey, what would this podcast be without a little conspiracy?
Let me pull this up, dude, because there's some shit about Disney too, but we won't get into that.
We don't want to be at the knife's edge blade of whatever axe that they'd be swinging. Because you know they got them axes and they got them lawyers and they got that litigation on lock.
Well, they had that issue with the what was it, the cruise recently. But yeah, there was
the one with the hentai virus.
You need to get looked at for your hentai virus, buddy. I'm having a hard time finding the name of this park, but basically they erected these like incredible structures within like a couple weeks, and they were like these like Roman style like cathedrals and like buildings. There was like a moat you could ride in. And the conspiracy is these were all old world buildings from like Tartaria, and they were doing this like theme park to make money off of it, and then they were going to tear them down afterwards. They existed back in like the early 1900s, and there's not a lot of documentation left in regards to what these parks were, but essentially they were the idea is that it's old world data that needed to be scrubbed, and they wanted to make money off of doing it, so they released it to the public and gussied it up as a theme park. So there's your theme park conspiracy lore.
So they took down the buildings.
They tore everything down. They tore out the moat that they put down. So like they built all of this shit like you would see at the fair, right? Imagine how, you know, the fair comes into town for like a couple weeks and then it's nothing there in the parking lot, and there's all this shit. It was like that, but done on like a grand scale, right? Where there's like buildings and fucking like a whole ass moat you could ride a boat in. So it was like extravagant shit, and when you look at the video footage of it, they look really good. So it's like, why would they build something like that and then just tear it down right afterwards? So that's why people were asking a lot of questions. But that's just on par with the topic. That's why, you know, I got to bring up some kind of conspiracy lore.
So I wonder what kind of shenanigans goes on, because a lot of these parks will hire maybe like late teen, young adults, and then they have them on campus basically for the seasons that they are open. So they like are in dorms and like, you know, there's got to be like something extra going on, like a little secret society. And
well, there's like, have you seen the issue with Disney where if you end up behind the scenes, like if you go in the wrong door, they freak the fuck out? So, I mean, have you heard that?
It makes sense why they would want to freak out.
So there's like this, it's like overreacting though. And the conspiracy theory is there's like, you know, there's trafficking going on there because people go missing and they use these like passageways, but in reality it's probably the passageways the employees use. And the general consensus from Disney is that this to keep your immersion, right? Because when you go to Disney World or Disneyland, you're supposed to be immersed into the world of Disney. And then if you go in a door and you just see the back rooms, you're just like, what the fuck is this shit? Where's fucking Aladdin? Where's fucking Simba?
Dude, how do we get an amusement park that is the back rooms?
Oh, a horror-themed Disney park. Isn't that just a haunted house?
Where do we find a haunted house?
You can book a tour at the Conjuring House right now, buddy. Have you seen McCamey Manor?
I have not. What is that?
You don't know what the McCamey Manor is?
Nope.
Yo, okay, so the McCamey Manor is this like haunted house that this guy would say, if you can make it through this haunted house, he'll give you like $20,000, right? but nobody ever makes it through the house. And when you get there, you have to sign a bunch of like documentation saying you won't sue them for what they're going to do to you. And essentially it's a torture house.
Oh shit.
So they just waterboard people until they decide to quit. They'll pull out teeth. They'll fuck your fingernails up. They'll psychologically destroy you. And these two content creators went there and like kind of exposed him and was like, hey, we know, this is all bullshit. Like you're never planning on paying anybody $20,000. You're just going to torture them until they quit. People will almost die. And then like there's that aspect of like facing your fear that you go into it like it's a theme park. You're like, I want to face my fears. I'm going to beat the McCamey Manor and I'm going to come out and be a better person. But then you get there and then it's all stacked against you. It's impossible. So that's kind of like, they made a whole ass movie out of it too. Like, I think it was a horror movie where there was like people killing people in a haunted house. Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff, man. You got all kinds of different things that are very similar to like theme parks and like the kind of rush that you get from attending one of these.
So something I've been seeing pop up around here are called escape rooms.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of along the same lines where you pay money and you are in a precarious situation. I mean, I'm sure you just tell the attendant and they'll let you leave, but
right, you can just quit and you don't accomplish the escape. But yeah, that's part of that immersion, and that's just like an attraction, right? Like just a straight up raw entertainment and a niche kind of like attraction. But it's giving you similar shit though.
So something that's happening is we have less and less third spaces to exist. A third space being somewhere where people can just like mingle freely, kind of. So like the first space is kind of like home, the second space is like work, and then the third space is where we go to exist. And sometimes what I think it is actually is there is a bit of a crisis, I would say, because like you could third space at places like Chuck E. Cheese, like arcade places, but the chances and the opportunities are shrinking, and the third space for like amusement parks and these places are opening up. I wonder if there is a correlation between the shrinking of third spaces and the emergence of theme parks.
Well, as with everything in a capitalist country, if there is a dollar to be made, then there is a business to be made out of this, consumable product. And the consumable product you're talking about, it sounds like, is this third space. And oftentimes when corporate entities make businesses out of something that can be consumed, they like to monopolize it. So you end up having less options, but more options, if that makes sense. You'll have less smaller funded theme parks, but then you'll have these you'll have access to like better, higher quality ones that cost a lot more. Like, did you ever hear about the theme park Action Park?
Oh, the infamous Action Park?
Action Park, buddy. Oh yeah, dude. It was a fucking OSHA nightmare, and fucking people were getting hurt all the time, leaving in ambulances. They made a whole ass movie out of it. Like it's hilarious too. Like they got away with that kind of shit.
It's wild.
But that is part of those like regulations, and like anybody can do it, but not everyone can do it well. And it's just the concept that someone's capitalizing off of a consumable product.
Right. I wonder how much you have to exploit people and forego their safety to get to a hypercritical state of success. Because you see places like Six Flags, and they have grown to a giant brand and like own a bunch of amusement parks. And I'm sure there is a history of like a sordid history where like workers and people, bystanders, so like wearing the blood of someone that just got their head decapitated from a roller coaster. Like, I'm sure there is like that history, but do you think that they got that far? Not just them, but like successful parks by covering that stuff up.
Well, I think that
because Action Park, I mean, they was just kind of like, oh, this shit happened again.
So there's this kind of like, so this is where regulation comes into play, right? Prior to regulation, people were getting fucked up. But what would happen is there was no documentation protecting these corporations from lawsuits. So someone's relative would get hurt or killed at a theme park. Then they would sue them. And then that park would lose a ton of fucking money. And then regulations were made to protect the public. So you could go about it through, let's say you want to open your own park, right? You could have a waiver at the door, right? Where it says, if you come in here, bitch, you can't sue me or nothing. But then people will see that and they're going to be like, well, fuck this. This sounds dangerous as fuck. Nothing's regulated and I'm liable for everything.
But that's the appeal. You wouldn't want to come to a thrill park without knowing you're going to get some thrill.
Not for kids, buddy. You don't want to take your 6-year-old to a place where they could die. But for adults, I agree.
Unless
my wife is heavily pregnant. She's about 9 months due. I need to ride the zipper now.
One zipper, please.
One zipper for her. I'm going to watch. But yeah, that's part of it. So like they had to have these incidences for regulation to be made so that there's like a standard for safety involved with these high risk activities.
So then the shareholders were just like, a few people have to die. That's a risk I'll have to take.
That I think is just trial and error. And also, you know, sometimes people do have, like when enough people get together and they express their freedom of speech and their power through lobbying, then they can actually make a change. If enough people didn't care, then people would just die at every roller coaster they went to because they wouldn't pay the money for the regulations and the safeties. They wouldn't care because nobody else cares.
Society's in a big depression and they have this theme park that is so tragically bad.
Park.
It's basically
the suicide park.
It's basically dubbed the suicide park, but nobody fucking complains because they're like, yeah, those people wanted that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll be there one day.
Like, you know, I'm feeling real shitty. My girl broke up with me. I'm gonna go ride this drop zone. It has a 50-50 chance of actually working.
Be like, I can't afford groceries.
500 people died last year.
I can afford admission into this place.
But yeah, that's the thing. And I think that now, you know, with businesses having these like regulations and laws, that they have to charge you a lot more because they have to adhere to all of these regulations. So you pay more for safety, right? Because you could go to the fair. The fair costs what, $40? But when you look at those videos online of like roller coaster accidents
and shadow people,
a lot of those times they happen at the fair, right? It's usually a cheap fucking theme park that's thrown together last minute. You don't really see a lot of incidences at like, you know, mainstream parks because of that.
Yeah, and I was wondering if it is like them keeping it under wraps, because if it was very publicized that like somebody died at this park in some grueling fashion, then surely their stocks would tank.
They do. That has happened. You can probably look it up statistically and see, you know, the moment when someone perished at a theme park, and then look at the stock market the month later. You can probably see an effect, right? Because those shareholders don't want to be responsible for that shit.
Those board meetings must be fucking awkward. They're like, okay, so in this quarter we had 4 people die. Yeah, so Buster over here has a plan.
So we're going to have to shut this ride down. It's killing people.
And then you got this guy, he brings up this PowerPoint presentation. He's like, here's what we can do to reduce and prevent fatalities.
Yes.
Like, you know how crazy this board meeting has got to be, where you're
Right, dude, a theme park board meeting would be sick to be a part of.
You got ideas?
Okay, I'm gonna pitch a roller coaster to you right now. All right. Okay, this one's called explosive diarrhea. So you eat 5 hot spicy nachos, and then you go in and like I'm talking like the Diablo, like the Pocky chip, like the testing nacho chips. Then you get on this roller coaster.
They feed it to you while you're strapped in.
Yeah, you
so
buckle
you
up
can't
and
quit.
then you have to eat the chip. And then they give you a gallon of milk. You have to hold the milk while you're on the ride. And you have to finish it before the ride's over. And then you go through the ride. It's a series of loops. That's all it is. It's just you should get shot out like a cannon, then you're just spun around in circles, and then it brings you back. If you fucking don't throw up or die, you can ride again.
What a joy.
Yeah, sign me up, dog.
Are you sure you aren't like giving us a pitch for the depression?
I fight depression.
The suicide part?
I fight depression with fucking unrealistic, thrilling expectations.
He's like, you know what? If this ride doesn't kill me, it's going to make me shit my pants and throw up maybe at the same time.
What if going to the moon was just one elaborate fucking theme park idea? There was just like, I want to ride the biggest, baddest roller coaster on the planet.
Isn't that what the fucking commercial space trips like Katy Perry took is?
Oh, yeah, that's basically that, right?
We're going to get you to the tip of the atmosphere. Not quite space.
We're going to edge you with death.
But you'll get to call yourself an astronaut.
All you have to do is sign a few papers. Says we're not responsible if you might get exploded.
I wonder what kind of waivers were in place for Ocean Gate.
Ocean Gate, dude. They were literally using a dual shock controller, right? Like the PlayStation controller.
It was
not even
like,
PlayStation
it was
2.
Like a Mad Catz controller.
Oh,
it was
Mad
a knockoff.
Catz, dude. That's
off-brand.
Not even dual shock. But that's another thrill that you can get in, be a part of too. Then it's just like, you know, imagine being the ride before that one. Where you're like, you come out, you're like, that was kind of fun. We went and saw the Titanic. They got another one. Want to wait and see them come back? We've been waiting here for a while. But, you know, that's part of the risk. And I think that's why a lot of these, it's appealing to people, right? Like if Ocean Gate came back, I guarantee you it would be booming. But
Is that... Is that
you're
just
not gonna
like,
laugh at my pun?
I'm laughing, but I'm wondering if that
Damn.
would be to the credit of like Idiocracy, because I know you're right. I know people would sign up and do it.
Absolutely. People would sign up to get shot by a gun if it was available. We're gonna shoot you in the chest with a .22. As soon as you're shot, we'll have a nurse dig the bullet out.
Dude, all you have to do is add some sort of like branding or merchandising or marketing to it.
Yes.
Where you're like, get shot by the brand new 5.7.
It'll be Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk, the pro skater, is gonna be the one shooting you today. Like, dude, I got shot by Tony Hawk.
But it was funny because I told him he didn't look like Tony Hawk. He looked like he is related to Tony Hawk. So then
he shot me.
He shot me twice.
Dude, we might be like the next entrepreneurs for the worst theme parks in the world.
Have you ever wanted to hurt yourself? Are you a masochist?
Do you hate your family? Well, bring them here at the new I Hate My Family Park, where every ride will make your family fall apart.
Sadists and masochists unite in the great pain.
Now imagine if there was a roller coaster ride where you had to take like a hit of ayahuasca, right? A DMT trip right before you got on the ride. And it just took you into this dark room with mirrors. You're just looking at yourself through this like real shitty dark room lit roller coaster ride.
I think you're onto something there.
Then you're like going on this like spiritual journey also.
Yo, look, for $200, I will give you a hit of ayahuasca and we will roll around the block in this limousine.
Oh, hell yeah. You're just going in circles in a parking lot.
But it's a fucking scary limousine, right?
Oh, shit. It's a scary
limousine. It's a scary limousine. No, but it would be like a thrill limousine where they are
like a Hummer.
On like a closed course, but like driving way too fucking crazy. That's the idea. So
Yeah, I like the idea of like,
if you want to partner up, if you have the capital, capital letters, if you have the capital, and you are crazy enough to endorse something so crazy and belligerent as doing drugs and then sending them for a joyride.
right. I mean, that's appealing too, right? Like doing mushrooms before going to a concert or movies.
The idea to me, though, that makes it appealing would be something mind-altering that wouldn't be like permanent, but then it would create an experience with the next part of it. So it's coupled with something else. So it'd be like doing mushrooms and then someone handing you like a coloring book or something.
And then you have to color while you're on this roller coaster.
Yeah.
You have to finish a drawing before the roller coaster's over with while you're high on shrooms.
And then the greatest, like whatever the judges pick as the greatest picture,
right,
he gets a second dose.
Yeah, you've heard of 3D roller coasters. You've heard of 4D roller coasters. This is 5D. They're going to take your consciousness out of your body, and then we're going to fucking send it out on a roller coaster. You're going to be sitting in a chair in a lab room somewhere hooked up to an IV drip, and your consciousness is going to be out in the universe on a guided tour through a fucking fake-ass theme park that's it's been like designed to give your soul an experience. You come out of it, you're like woke as fuck. You're like, holy shit, dude, I can't believe that was even a thing.
That's amazing. I
think we broke ground. We broke some ground.
This was... We may not have set out to do this, but this was definitely a board meeting for some amusement park.
Yeah, possibly the worst one that has ever existed, making Action Park look tame.
Action Park.
Yeah, man.
Never heard of her.
But yeah, man. So
that's the idea that I wanted to talk about, is that there's a wide encompassing range of thought that surrounds amusement parks, like, as we discussed, like the necessity for it, because I feel like it definitely plays a role that without it there would be a void in society, and maybe that void would get filled by our fucking suicide parks. But
well, it's evident in our history, you know. You go all the way back to the 1500s and people were finding some kind of way to satiate that urge, and it's lasted for hundreds of years, and who knows how far back it goes, right? That's the only thing we have documented. It could go all the way back to like the Romans, you know, with like the gladiators and shit. Imagine being a gladiator.
Right. And I think my favorite parts of the discussion has got to be the opening of the door to talk about fear and being afraid.
Yes. That's the best takeaway.
You get to face something in somewhat of a controlled environment, and you get to walk away the braver. You get to gain something that isn't monetary, and it builds onto your character. And that's if you let it. Like, if it is compatible in that sort of way, because some people could ride a roller coaster and it, you know, break them down a little bit worse.
Right.
And maybe would not feel as satisfied by the end result.
Right. So yeah, I agree, man. It is fundamental to our society, and I think that, you know, that's a strong takeaway. The best benefit from the theme parks that we have access to is the ability to face one's fear in a controlled setting, where you literally have a choice to make. Am I going to confront this aspect of who I am and what's going to happen afterwards? And then whenever you come through the other side, you're a different person, no matter what.
So if you would feel as inclined to share, I'll share too. And if anything, I will go first. But I want to know about an experience and where you were afraid, acknowledged you were afraid, and did the thing anyways.
Hell yeah.
So, for me, one of the biggest things I find so, like, death-grippingly scary and terrifying, that is, sometimes it comes really naturally, other times not, but it is initiating a conversation with, like, a random stranger. sometimes it comes really naturally to me, like in certain environments. But if there's like a really cute girl I want to talk to, every bit of practice and social aptitude I have goes out the window and I freak out.
Right.
Like for whatever reason. But it's overcoming that and getting to the other side and like opening up that conversation and having some bids for connection. It's just like all worth it, and facing that fear otherwise.
Yes, and like you said earlier, theme parks can kind of act as that bridge, right? That shortcut to tapping into this ability to confront that fear. Even though it's a totally different environment, the feeling is the same. And the results can also be the same. Yeah, you might not date the girl, but you might find out she's a really cool person, and you might make a friend or make a really cool memory for the night. So, you know,
in theme of what we were talking about, build onto your character. It's a little bit easier next time because you know you're going to be scared, so you're going to do it scared. So then that's basically what I wanted to say, and shed some light on somebody as like socially fluid as I am. Like I'm afraid whenever I talk to strangers,
right?
But it's the excitement that gets me through all of it. Like I'm excited to know this person because everybody has a lesson that you haven't been taught yet. And like everybody knows something that you don't know.
And then there's that thrill that they're gonna rob you and mug you and steal your shit.
As soon as they invite you
your
to
life.
as soon as they invite you to sit down at their table, they're gonna slip you a drink, and you're not gonna question it.
But to answer your question on fear, for me, I think I have to agree with like approaching people as one of the strongest fears that I have. But for sake of giving a different answer, one thing that I have a strong fear of is performing a task in front of an expert when I'm intermediate or a novice, and I don't have the confidence in my skill set to complete the task in as well as the expert who is viewing me. It could be anything from when I used to be a pro wrestler, wrestling in front of, you know, people who are wildly successful, or doing acting in front of people who are legitimate actors. You know?
Oh, buddy. So tell me if this is relatable, because I drive a forklift for a living, and whenever I'm just like through the warehouse forklifting around material handling, like I'm good, I'm golden. But then whenever it comes time that we have to do like a sort through the product, and there's like people around that I have to downstack these totes for, then I don't have all of my utilities like I normally do.
Right.
Like it isn't quite the same. Like I may not be freaking out or like feel like the presence of fear.
The pressure is enough.
But the pressure alone makes me not feel as comfortable. So whenever I'm like operating the machine, like it's a little bit more difficult.
No, that's relatable, man. Because in simplistic terms, that what I just said and what you just said really boils down to like the fear of failure in a task-oriented environment. And I think that is something that you can use, you know, that same tool we just talked about, where you have this ability to face that fear and then do your best, and no matter what you do, you come out through the other side and you're just like, you know what, I gave it my best. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I think that's the most important thing to remember, is that no matter how bad you think it's going to be, it's never that bad.
We get so caught up in the idea of how grueling it'll be. Yep. And this is something that has put me, I had to discover this within myself. I had to discover that I focus a lot on the work it will take to do something. And whenever you get caught up in the idea of how much effort something will take, then you ain't thinking about the outcome. You ain't thinking about the bigger picture, and you are so focused on it. And then me personally, I look at the work and I'm like, that's too much work. I'm going to do something else, or not at all.
Yeah, man. And that's where, you know, our biggest enemies can sometimes just be ourselves in any facet of life and all aspects. And, you know, this reminds me of an episode we did not too long ago talking about phobias.
Oh.
And we
check that one out on Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah, we touched a little bit on fear and like the psychological aspects it has in our lives, but we didn't really ever talk about like the tools and mechanisms that we've used in our, in society that are there readily available for you to kind of help you deal with some of these fears. And I think theme parks is a very like relatable thing that almost all of us have experienced, that kind of give us a tool to help deal with some of the mundane fears that we deal with.
Right. If you are somebody who is ambitious about growing in character, and maybe someone that's anxious or fearful about things, an amusement park can be an amazing tool that you can utilize to grow as a person.
So is therapy, though.
Therapy is...
So is therapy.
Therapy...
I'm just saying,
dude, men will do anything to go to therapy.
I'll hop on a roller coaster. Fuck that shit.
I keep seeing this joke float around.
Hey, if it works, it works.
I keep seeing this joke float around. It's like, hey, just tell the men that there's protein in therapy. Shit.
I love that, man. I love it. Yeah, man. So, yeah, I get why you wanted to talk about this, and I'm super excited that we could share, a little bit of how we feel about this kind of topic and this kind of idea, and hopefully make some people think a little bit more abstract about such a nuanceical, everyday activity that they have access to, and maybe they can use it in their lives and make their lives a little bit better.
So if you are somebody who has ever worked at an amusement park, that has ever dormed up, or if you are somebody who has a fear that they would like to overcome, please let us know.
Dude, tell us your stories.
Tell us your stories. You can reach us. You can reach out to the aether sphere, whatever it is, the internet.
The simulation gods.
The simulation. You can look out into the coding and you can reach us. You can find us on Instagram at Based Banter Podcast. Based Banter Podcast on Facebook too. And also Based Banter Pod on X. Which one of those would be easiest for y'all to jot out a message and just say? Just let us know, because we want to know your story. We want to get the experience.
Yes, sir. And as always, please support the podcast. Go over to Spotify, go over to YouTube, like and subscribe and follow, and then leave your comments. If you don't want to reach out on the socials, those comment sections are always a good place for you to share publicly. Or if you do want to do it privately, those socials do exist.
And then you must know by now, and if you don't know, you're going to know.
Now you know.
That Joey here is an amazing streamer, and he puts on a show. It's
amazing.
It's
a stretch. A lot of times it's just me getting drunk playing video games. But there are those times where I help people deal with their social anxiety, because we live in a world where everyone lives in their bedrooms and basements and they never leave and go have social interactions. Now, you have a chance to communicate with someone who's socially awkward, just like you, at Arcano Joe.
That's the plug I was getting to.
A little lengthy, but we were there.
And you know what? Now you know what to do, our beautiful listeners. We can't wait to see you in the next one. Peace.